Okay, so simplex method, as I've said, this methodology was developed in 1947 by George Danzig, and today we will be discussing how the simplex method works. Okay, so for us to understand the methodology, let us just go through some definition of terms. As I've said, um, an LP model is a system of inequalities, mostly inequalities. You will see less than or equal to and greater than or equal to constraints. Sometimes in the LP models that you have formulated before, you will even see equality constraints. No? Kapag may mga ratios na kailangan, may mga equality constraints. So it's really a mix of less than, greater than, and equality constraints. Now, our goal in using the simplex method is to convert the model that we have formulated into what we call standard form, which later I will discuss in detail. In standard form, all of your constraints are converted to equality or it into an equation by simply adding what we call slack variables or surplus variables. Now, since we will convert all of the constraints into equations, you can just imagine the LP models that you have formulated in the past. Uh, just convert all of those to equality, then you will have a system of equations. Tama? So magkakaroon ka ng objective function subject to a system of equations. So kapag may mga equations na tayo, then what we've learned in the Indomat will come into the picture. Okay, so since we will convert all of the constraints to equations, then we start the definition of terms by with n and m. Okay, so you will see, okay, that here on the left side of your screen, n is the number of equation or number of variables in the LP model, no, in standard form, as I've said. So m is the number of constraints or the number of equations in your LP model. Okay, so remember that n and m. So in Indomat, you learn different systems of equations. No, meron tayong n, meron tayong when m is equal to m. Okay, meron din tayong when n is less than m, and meron din tayong when n is greater than m. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, what you've learned is that if you have a system of equations, so let me write it down. And n is equal to m, meaning the number of variables is equal to the number of equations. So if you have three variables, x1, x2, x3, and you have three equations, you should be able to come up with a unique solution. Okay, but if your n is less than m, okay, where your number of variables is less than your number of equations, what happens? The system will have no solution. And if n is greater than m, then the system will have infinite solutions. Okay, so it all boils down to a system of equations and having to solve that system of equations for the values of the variables that would maximize or minimize your z. Remember what I told you last meeting? The manual solution process is all about the search for that best solution that would optimize your z value. Okay, we already know that our system will create an infinite number of possible solutions, meaning you would have more variables than you have equations. Okay, so therefore, for an LP model that is converted to equations, this is the system that we have to work with. Okay, the system where there are more variables than equations. Kaya infinite number of possible solutions. Okay, so now you just have to uh, try to remember this, no? Uh, the following terms. Number three, let's go to number three on the left side of your screen. You have basic solution. Okay, a basic solution. So again, in finding a solution to this system of equations, there are different types of solutions that we can find. Okay, the first type is called the basic solution, and it is a solution obtained when all the excess variables. Okay, so let's see here. Since n is greater than m, okay, then I can get the difference between n and m. Okay, mas malaki yung left side eh. So I can transpose m to the right side. Okay, n minus m. Okay, n minus m represents the number of excess variables in the system. Remember, in the system, you only need enough variables for the number of equations. N equals m will give you a unique solution. Since you have extra variables as compared to equations, then n minus n represents the excess. Okay? So one solution strategy, since you have excess variables in the system, what you want to do is to make the system have the same variables as equations. So sobra yung variables sa equations eh. So gagawin mong equal lang yung variables sa equations by assuming the value of the excess variables. So if you now assume, you're free to assume anything, no? And then solve for the system of equations as if it were n equals m. So if you assume n minus m variables to 0, and then you solve for the values of the rest of the variables, okay, then you will have what we call a basic solution. Okay, as I've said, okay, as I've said, you are free to assume any value, but the easiest is to assume them to be 0. Okay, that's the easiest. So that you just take out those variables from the equation and solve for the rest, and whatever comes out is called a basic solution. Now we take it from there. So from number 3, if solving for the rest of the variables would produce all non-negative values, then you have what you call a feasible basic solution. Okay, so again, after you have reduced the system of equations into the same number of variables and equations, you will be able to come up with a unique solution. And if that unique solution contains all variables that are non-negative, okay, ibig sabihin walang nag-negative doon sa solution mo, then you have a feasible basic solution. Okay, pero kapag may mag-negative doon, at least one of the variables come out to be negative, then you have an infeasible basic solution. Okay? So it's either your basic solution is either it's feasible or it's infeasible. So again, feasible if all values are positive, infeasible if at least one of the values would be negative, would turn out to be negative. Okay? And in that solution, you would have what you call basic variables and non-basic variables. So, pinakamabilis dyan to remember is, for example, okay ko dito if you have a system, let's say n is equal to 5 variables, no, and m is equal to 3 equations. So that means you have x1, x2, x3, x4, and x5 to solve for. But you only have 3 equations. So one possible solution is to assume x4 and x5 to be 0. Okay? If you assume x4 and x5 to be 0, then you're left with x1, x2, x3 in that system of equations. And since you have 3 equations, you now have n equals m. Number of variables mo, tatlo na lang. Number of equations mo, tatlo rin. So you will be able to come up with a unique solution. So let's just say, for example, that solving for x1, x2, and x3, let's say lang, x1 came up to be 1, x2 came up to be -1, and x3 came up to be 3. Okay? Then, this is what we call, okay, this solution, okay, is what we call an infeasible basic solution. Again, it's a basic solution because the excess variables were assumed to be 0. Okay? These two variables were assumed to be 0, x4 and x5. And then you came up with a solution like this. Or another possible solution, let's say, no, let's say you assume, this is just an example, just to make you understand the difference. Let's say you assumed x2, again, you can assume any two variables, basta yung excess, assume it to be 0, and then solve for the rest. So if you solve for the rest, let's say solving for x1, x4, and x5 this time, let's say x1 comes out to be 1, x4 comes out to be 2, and x5 comes out to be 1. Okay? Then, this one, this solution here, is what we call a feasible basic solution. All the values of the variables that you solve for are all non-negative. Okay? Therefore, it's a feasible basic solution. Okay? And now, basic variables and non-basic variable. Okay? So, basic variables here, in the first one, okay, in the first solution, ang basic dyan is x1, x2, and x3. Yung mga variables na sinolve ninyo. Yun yung basic. And then, non-basic would be the variables that were assumed to be 0. Okay? None. Wala. 0. Kaya, yun yung pinakamabilis. Non-basic variables, yun yung mga 0 variables mo. Basic variables, yun yung mga sinolve mo. Okay? And again, let me just write it. These are your basic variables, and these two are your non-basic variables. Okay, in this second example, these are your basic variables, tatlo sila. And these two are your non-basic variables, x2 and x3. So kung ano yung siniro out ninyo, yung inassume yung 0, yun yung non-basic. Kung ano yung sunod nyo, yun yung basic. Now let's move to number 7. Degenerate. It says here a solution where at least one of the basic variables has a value of 0. So, class, when you assume, initially, when you assume two variables to be 0 in this system, kasi dalawa yung excess eh, okay? If you assume two variables to be 0 and solve for the rest, which is x1, x2, x3, it is very possible that if you solve for the rest, so I will change, it is very possible that one of them, after solving the system, will come out to be 0. So in this case, the basic variables for this system is still x1, x2, and x3, even if x2 is 0. Again, ang differentiating factor ng basic and non-basic is what you initially assume to be 0, those are the non-basic. What you solve for as the remainder of the variables are all basic. Okay? Basta't sinold mo sa system, basic yon. Hindi mo inassume. Pag inassume mo, 0, non-basic. Pag sinold mo, basic lahat yon. Okay? Now, pag sinold mo yung system, tapos lumabas 0, then this solution is what we call a degenerate solution. Okay? It's a degenerate solution. So just take this down in your notes, no? A degenerate solution implies that your LP model, the LP model that you have formulated, has redundant constraints. Okay? If you come up with a degenerate solution, then it means that your LP model has some redundant constraints in it. Okay? So again, definition, the degenerate solution is a solution like this, where at least one of the basic variables, since x2 is considered a basic variable and it has a value of 0, then we call this solution here, this one, okay, this whole solution of solving for x1, x2, and x3 as a degenerate solution. Okay, so the complete solution to this is x1 is 1, x2 is 0, x3 is 3, x4 is 0, x5 is 0. Okay, but the variables are classified into non-basic and basic. Okay? So, balik ko na to. Clear na ba, class? For this session, thumbs up lang tayo. Wala nang magsasalita since I'm recording this also for the other class. Okay? So, any questions? Clear na? Okay. Sige. So, now, I'll put this back to -1 kasi nakalagay in feasible basic solution para hindi malito yung kabilang klase. Okay? But again, going to number 8, convex set is a region. A region is convex if for any 2 points on the set, the line joining the 2 points will always lie entirely within the region. Now, the significance of convex sets in the simplex method is that all feasible regions must be convex sets, okay, for you to find an optimal solution. Okay? Dapat convex set yan. Kapag hindi yan convex set, wala kang optimal solution na mahahanap. So example of a convex set is something like this here. So if you have 2 points inside that feasible region and you connect them, okay, here with a line segment, the entire line segment should still fall within that feasible solution space or feasible region. Okay, again, feasible region, what we learned last meeting, that is the region within which all the possible values of x1, all the possible values of the variables will satisfy all the constraints. So, yan yung solution space mo, yung pagpipilian mo ng optimal solution. So, again, this triangle here, right triangle here, is a convex set because if you connect a line between 2 points, it will fall entirely within the region. In contrast, this region here is not a convex set, okay? Because if I have 2 points inside this region here, this one, and I connect it with a line segment, a portion of it will fall outside of the feasible region. So it's not a convex set by definition. So sabi dito, all feasible regions are convex sets. So corner point, alam na natin yan. Corner point represents the intersection of two or more constraints. Okay, from last meeting, it's the intersection of two or more constraints. Now for another description, a point X is a corner point if it does not lie between the line joining two other distinct points. Okay? So, kumbaga, edge siya, dulo siya. Okay? That's why it will not lie between the line joining two other distinct points. Basta nasa dulo siya, it's a corner point. And adjacent corner point, later on we'll tackle this. Adjacent corner point is magkatabi yung corner point, either to the left, to the right, sa taas, sa baba, magkatabi sila. Okay? So, two corner points are adjacent if the line joining them is an edge of the convex set. In other words, border. If the line joining two points represents the border, let's say, balik ako dito, okay? You will see here, this is, okay, these two, hindi nyo nakikita, no? So, these two, okay, are adjacent corner points kasi the line joining them is an edge of the feasible region or a border of the feasible region. These two, okay, this one and this one are adjacent. This one and this one are adjacent kasi yung line joining them is a border. The line joining them is a border or an edge. Okay? So, yun yung adjacent corner point. So, we're now ready. Okay, with those terms, tandaan nyo, basic variables, non-basic variables, basic solution, syempre, kailangan nyo malaman. And then, corner points and adjacent corner points. Okay, so the first step in the simplex method is to convert your LP model into standard form. So, the standard form of the LP model will follow this, no? A, B, C, D. First, all variables must be non-negative. Okay? Meron naman tayong non-negativity constraints, so walang problema. Letter B, all constraints are equality. So you need to convert all your inequalities to equality or to equations. The functional or the system constraints only. Hindi kasama yung non-negativity. Okay? Just the system constraints. When you say system constraints or functional constraints, or structural constraints, pare-pareho ibig sabihin niyan, structural, functional, system constraints. It means all the constraints in your model apart from your non-negativity constraint. Okay. Next, right-hand side of constraints are non-negative. So remember, you put all the variables on the left side and all the constants on the right side. And on the right side, if your constant happens to be negative, you have to convert that into positive by multiplying by -1. Okay, so that's the standard form of the LP model. And then all variables must be placed on the left side of the equation. So we'll have an exercise here. Okay, we'll have an exercise there in standard form. So you will see here that you have three decision variables, x1 and x2 and x3. And then you will have three constraints. Meron kang isang less than, isang greater than, at isang equal to constraint. And then the non-negativity constraint. However, something that we haven't formulated in the past is the fact that sometimes when you formulate an LP model, the original LP model formulated is that x1 and x2 are both non-negative, greater than or equal to 0, but x3 is unrestricted in sign. Okay, x3 is unrestricted in sign. Let's say, and in reality, there are some variables that are unrestricted in sign. Okay, so for example, a worker, you will decide, okay, you will decide kung mag-overtime ba siya o mag-undertime siya given the day's production schedule. Example lang ito ha. Okay? You have a production schedule and you have a set of workers. Let's say you need to decide which worker should go overtime and which worker should go undertime. Okay? Kasi yung yung ipoproduce mong product requires a certain skill. So you need to you need to select workers who have the skill to actually manually produce that product or assemble that product. Kaya mamimili ka, sino sa mga workers mo ang mag-overtime, sino mag-undertime. The overtime, undertime variable can be an unrestricted variable kasi ang base mo would be your 8 hours a day. Nakuha nyo? 8 hours a day is your base. If you select a worker and decide na, okay, this worker will go overtime, then it would be a positive variable, meaning that worker has to work beyond 8 hours, more than 8 hours. So it's a positive variable. And if you decide mag-undertime yung worker, ilang hours siya mag-undertime, okay, for that production day, then the undertime is represented by a negative variable. Okay? Kasi it deviates negatively from the 8 hours. Okay? So overtime is a positive variable or it's a positive deviation to the 8 hours, dadagdagan mo, whereas undertime is a negative deviation to the 8 hours. Babawasan mo yung 8 hours for that day. Okay? So that's one example of an unrestricted variable, no, in real life, no, where you have to decide whether overtime or undertime. And usually it has something to do with deviations from a goal or from a standard. If you have a goal, any goal, if you want to uh, exceed that goal, then it's a positive variable. But if you want to go below that goal, it's a negative variable. Okay? So the fact that you have an unrestricted variable means that this LP model, because it has less than equal to, greater than equal to constraints and an unrestricted variable, it means that this model is not in standard form, because we said earlier that for a model to be standard form, all variables have to be non-negative, meaning dapat wala kang unrestricted variables in your LP model. Okay? So, and then all constraints have to be equality, meaning you have to get rid of the less than equal to and the greater than equal to constraints. So there are techniques to do that, and I will teach you to do it as we go along. So if the original formulated LP model is not in standard form, then you have to convert it. Number one, for less than or equal to constraints, obviously, you are allowing the left side to be less than, after substituting the values of x1, x2, and x3, you are allowing the left side to be less than 10. Okay? So the left side could be less than, or it could be equal to 10. Now, in general cases, if it is less than 10, then it means that you have to add something to make it equal to 10. And therefore, for less than or equal to constraints, we add what we call slack variables. Okay? Add slack variables. Okay? So, slack variables, from the word itself, slack, would cover for whatever is short on the left side. So, for example, the left side, x1 plus 2x2 plus 3x3, okay, if you add them together, let's say the sum is just 7. So, if the sum is 7, to make it equal to 10, kailangan magdagdag ka ng isang slack variable, which we will call S later on, that is equal to 3. That slack will now cover for the difference between the left side and the right side. Kung 7 lang yung left side, dagdag ka ng 3 to make it equal to 10. Ganon din naman sa greater than constraint. Pagka greater than constraint, you subtract what we call surplus variables. Again, from the word itself, surplus, so pag less than, slack, pag greater than, surplus. Surplus means sobra. And we know that if it's a greater than constraint, the left side has the possibility of being greater than 5. So when you add 2x1 minus x2 plus x3 together, the sum is possible to be greater than 5. So let's say the sum is 8. Then to make the left side equal to the right side, you have to subtract 3. And that value 3 is called a surplus variable. Surplus, sobra kasi siya. You're taking away or subtracting whatever is in excess sa left side as compared to right side. So therefore, a less than constraint is converted to an equation by adding a surplus variable, whereas a greater than constraint is converted into an equation by subtracting a surplus variable para mag-equal or mag-balance yung left side and yung right side. So yung equality constraint, wala nang problema yan. Equal na yan. Okay, and you have to check your right-hand side values, yung mga constants sa right side. If they're all positive, then you're okay already. But if there's a negative value on the right side, you have to multiply by -1. Okay, and finally, we have to address this. If you have an unrestricted variable, all you have to do is express them as the difference of two non-negative variables. So in other words, we will remove the unrestricted variable from the model and replace it by the difference of two variables. So by getting the difference of x4 and x5 and defining x4 to be greater than or equal to 0 and x5 to be greater than or equal to 0, okay, you're now saying that you're taking away that unrestricted variable from the LP model that you have formulated, and you're replacing it with two non-negative variables x4 and x5 here, okay, and you're expressing the unrestricted variable as the difference between those two new decision variables that you have defined, x4 and x5. Okay, so take note that if you express x3, so let x3 equal to x4 minus x5. And if x4 is non-negative and x5 is non-negative, you now have the possibility that x4 minus x5 could be positive if x4 is greater than x5. And x4 minus x5 could be negative if x4 is less than x5. So you still capture the unrestrictedness or the unrestricted nature of x3, pero you use two non-negative variables to define x3. Okay? So pwede pa rin, parang unrestricted pa rin siya kasi pwede mag-positive yung x4 minus x5, pwede rin naman mag-negative yung x4 minus x5. Parang unrestricted, pero the variables that make it up are both non-negative. Okay? So to see the final solution, you will see it on the next slide. So, if you let x3 be equal to x4 minus x5, then lahat ng x3 sa model dapat matanggal. Okay? Dapat matanggal lahat yan. At papalitan nyo ng x4 minus x5. Tapos, mawawala na rin ito. Okay? Mawawala na rin yan. You will now replace it with these two. Okay? So, let us see how it's done. So the first thing, if you have an unrestricted variable, is to define uh, two new variables, okay, non-negative variables, and let the unrestricted variable be equal to the difference, okay, the difference between these two variables, okay. So that's the first step. X4 and x5 have to be greater than or equal to 0, and as you can see here, the original objective function is 3x1 plus 2x2 plus 5x3. Okay, that's the original objective function, 5x3. You now replace x3 by x4 minus x5, and therefore 5x3 becomes 5x4 minus 5x5. And you do the same thing for the constraints. Okay, the first constraint, it's 3x3. If you look here, is 3x3, so it becomes 3x4 minus 3x5. The second constraint is plus x3, it becomes x4 minus x5. And the third constraint is also plus x3. Tama ba? Yeah, plus x3 then. So it becomes x4 minus x5. So totally, nawala na yung x3 doon sa LP model mo, is replaced entirely by x4 minus x5. And hence, in your non-negativity constraint, you now have four variables, x1, x2, x4, and x5 greater than or equal to 0. Okay? But to convert this further to standard form, you will see that the first constraint is less than or equal to 10. So you now add what we call a slack variable called S1. So you define S1 as your slack variable and you add it to the first constraint, or in general, you add the slack variable. Iba-iba dapat ang slack mo. If you have different less than or equal to constraints, let's say tatlo yung less than equal to constraints mo, dapat mag-define ka ng S1, S2, S3. Magkakaiba sila because the values may be different. Okay? So, one slack variable per less than or equal to constraint, and one surplus variable for every greater than or equal to constraint. You have to define a unique slack and a unique surplus for every less than or greater than constraint. So, since you have only one less than and one greater than constraint, we define one slack variable, S1, and add it to the first constraint to make it equal to 10. And for the second constraint, since it's a greater than constraint, you subtract. Okay, kita nyo to, no? You subtract a slack variable, S2, you define it as S2, subtract a surplus variable, subtract a surplus variable to make the left side equal to the right side. So as you can see, the finished product is one wherein all the constraints have been converted to equality. You'll see it here. All are equations already. The right side values are all positive or non-negative. Zero is accepted. Okay? Zero is acceptable. So non-negative dapat yung right side. And all your variables from x1, x2, x3, x1, x2, x4, x5, including S1 and S2, the slack and the surplus variables that you have defined, all of the variables must be greater than or equal to 0. Then you now have your standard form. And that is the first step of the simplex algorithm or simplex method. Okay. Is everything clear so far at this point? Alam na bang mag-convert ng LP model into standard form para magamit natin ngayon yung simplex? Raise hand lang kapag naintindihan. Sorry, approve lang pala. Approve sign pag naintindihan. Okay. For the rest, okay. Sige. I'll proceed. Pag may question, just feel free to interrupt. Okay. So, introduction to the simplex procedure. So, again, we'll start with a very simple two decision variable model so that it is easy for you to visualize and understand. Okay. So, this is your model. You have two variables, three constraints. Graphically, this is how it looks. So again, you will see the model here. Okay, so lagay ko dito. Ano ba yan? Ayan. Okay, so para may pointer ako. So you will see that this is the model. So you have three constraints, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then, as I've taught you last meeting, you just graph all of those inequalities. This is 1. This is the first solution methodology, hindi to simplex, graphical ito. Okay? So, through the graphical approach, since two variables lang ito, okay, makukuha natin yung optimal solution easily using the graphical approach na what I taught you last meeting. So, constraint number 1, if you graph it, the region is pababa kasi less than lahat ito eh. So, the region is towards the origin lahat. Okay, second constraint is this one. Okay, second constraint, pagkapilat. And the third constraint is this one. Okay, this one. And since all of them are pointing towards the origin, you will see that the intersection or the common region of these three constraints will be represented by this space. this is your feasible solution space, and nawawala yung letter A. This point is corner point A, okay? This is corner point B, this is corner point C, and this is corner point D. So you can now, after graphing this, you can now use the corner point approach to find the optimal solution. Okay? So first, ang ginagawa natin is to solve using simplex, you have to convert the original model, this model, into standard form. So tingnan natin. So you will see that x1 and x2 are both greater than or equal to 0. Wala naman tayong unrestricted variable, so okay na yan. You will see that the right-hand side are all positive, so okay na yan. Okay? Your only problem now is the less than equal to constraints. Pag less than, you have to add a slack variable for every less than or equal to variable. Kaya you need to define 3 slack variables here. S1 for this, S2 for this, and S3 for this. And add it to the respective constraints. Kaya you will see that in standard form on the left side, makikita ninyo yung first constraint, nagdagdag siya ng S1 and inequate na niya sa 20. Yung second constraint, nagdagdag ng S2, inequate sa 12. And yung third constraint, nagdagdag ng S3, inequate sa 20. And then, the resulting system will now have 5 variables. Okay, X1, X2, the slack here, S1, the slack here, S2, the slack here, S3. All of them have to be greater than or equal to 0. So, looking at the left side, you will see that the model has now been converted into its standard form. Okay? So now, you will see, just to illustrate what I told you earlier sa start ng session, you will see that in standard form, your LP model will always have more variables than equations. So again, remember, n is the number of variables here. Okay, I hope you see this small dot hovering around n. And m is the number of equations. Okay, so that's your m. So you will see that you have 3 equations in this system, but you have 5 variables. Kaya may sobra ka, may excess. You already know that because all LP models will have a system where n is greater than m. And you know that if n is greater than m, that system would have infinite number of solutions, as can be seen here. Okay, this system of equations will have infinite number of solutions, as can be seen by this feasible region, through this feasible region. Okay, so in order to solve this model using simplex, the first step is to figure out how many variables are there total after adding and subtracting slack and surplus, and then determining how many equations you have, and then the excess variables. Importante yung n minus m kasi all the excess variables have to be assumed or have to be equated to 0 for us to have a basic solution. Kasi later on, you learn that the optimal solution to any LP model is always a feasible basic solution. Okay? In other words, dapat basic solution yung optimal solution natin. And for it to be a basic solution, all excess variables n minus m, okay, must be equated to 0. In this example, 2 variables, mamimili ka ngayon ng dalawang variables. The question now is this: mamimili ka ng dalawang variables to assume to 0. Alin sa dalawang variables ang pipiliin mo at gagawin mong 0 for you to have a starting solution? Yung next step, first step kasi is to convert the model to standard form. That's the first step. The second step is to come up with an initial solution. Parang sa programming nyo lang, di ba? Meron kayong initialization. Okay? Pag i-run nyo yung model, meron kayong i-run nyo yung program, meron kayong initialization. What are the initial values of the variables? Okay? So, ganun din dito. Second step is to come up with an initial solution, meaning an initial value for the 5 variables. Initial value for the 5 variables. So now, you are guided by this one. Okay, you are guided by this one. You know that out of the 5 variables, you need to assume two variables to be zero. So mamimili ka ngayon, di ba? Mamimili ka, and from your eng.1 or FND stat, you know that you have 5 combination 2 or 5 taken 2 possible choices. Kasi out of the 5 variables, you are going to select 2 eh. Any 2 to be 0. So what is 5 taken 2? That is equal to 10. Okay? 10 possible choices na gagawin mong 0. Okay? 10 possible choices. So, of course, we have to come up with the choice that is easiest for us. Kasi, for example lang ha, for example, I choose S1 and S2 to be 0. What happens to my system? Anong variables ang matitira? I will answer my own question kasi recorded. Okay? If I choose S1 and S2 to be 0, okay, then the variables that will be left would be X1, X2, and S3, which I need to solve simultaneously. X1, X2, and S3. Okay, I need to solve that simultaneously. So if you look at the model, para ma-solve ko tong tatlong values ng X1, X2, and X3, mabilis lang naman kasi two variables lang yung system natin eh. Di ba? X1, X2 lang. So what I need to do is to solve equation 1 and equation 2 simultaneously. Since S1 and S2 are both 0, okay, then I can solve for X1 and X2 simultaneously by elimination. Makukuha ko ng X1 and X2. Pag nakuha ko ngayon, pag na-solve ko yung X1 and X2, I can now plug it into equation 3 to solve for S3. Diba? Now I have an initial solution. The problem is, if you solve for X1 and X2 and S3 that way, okay, hindi ka sure na yung lalabas na basic solution mo would be feasible or infeasible. And isa pa, you had to solve for a system of equations, okay, before you can come up with the value of X1, X2, and S3. Kinailangan mo i-solve yung 1 and 2 simultaneously, then pag na-solve mo na, saka mo isa-substitute sa 3 para ma-solve yung S3. Nakuha nyo ba? So medyo mahaba-habang proseso. Mabilis lang pero mahabang proseso. But imagine if you have 10 decision variables, di ba? Tapos you had a wrong choice of which variables to assume 0. Matatagalan ka sa initial solution pa lang. Sa pag-solve pa lang ng initial solution, matatagalan ka. Okay? Now let me check. If I solve this, subtract x2 will be equal to 8. X2 is equal to 8. X1 will be equal to 12. S3 will come out to be 6. If x2 is equal to 8, x1 will be 4. Okay, S3 will come out to be positive. Okay lang. Okay? So, ang mangyayari, if you solve this system simultaneously, x1 will come out to be 4. X2 will come out to be 8. I'm just solving 1 and 2 simultaneously. And S3 will come out to be 4. Okay? So, therefore, the solution, x1 is 4, x2 is 8, s1 is 0, s2 is 0, s3 is 4, is a feasible basic solution. Okay, it's a feasible basic. Again, basic siya kasi you assume the excess variables to be 0. It's a feasible basic solution. Pero, again, ipe-prescribe ko na yung selection nyo is always at the origin. Kung saan 0 yung mga decision variables ninyo. Kasi kapag pinili ko, remember, 2 variables to be 0, di ba? Assume to be 0. So, pwede nyo piliin yung x1, x2 equals 0. If x1, x2 equals 0, mas madali, di ba? Wala nang need to solve the system simultaneously. Kasi if x1 is 0, x2 is 0, okay, you take it out, di ba? 0 na siya eh. Ang matitira na lang sa system mo, tatlong variables, S1, S2, S3, and you have three equations. So automatically, S1 is 20, S2 is 12, S3 is 20. Okay? It's easy if you begin your search process at the origin. Okay? Meaning, what I mean by beginning the search process at the origin is your initial solution will be at the origin. So, later, we'll go to that. Okay, but balik lang muna tayo dito sa graphical approach. So, alam nyo na gawin to. You have 4 corner points, A, B, C, D. So, nakasulat dito. Of course, ito pa pala kasama to sa corner point, no? Hindi na nalagyan ng dot. So, lagyan natin to. Kasi kasama to sa buong feasible region in this one, no? Yan yung feasible solution space natin. Okay? So, kasama tong origin na O, and then itong corner point na hindi na label, yung A. Okay? So, O, A, B, C, D. So, you will see that on the left side of your screen. Okay? This time, nung graphical method ninyo, wala kayong S1, S2, S3. Okay? Wala nun. Okay? X1, X2, tsaka Z lang yung sinosolve natin nun. And that's okay. Okay? X1, X2, and Z, that's okay. So all you have to do, corner point O, alam nyo naman, X1 and X2 are 0. So I'll just put a check. Okay? X1 and X2 are 0 sa origin. And sa corner point A, alam nyo, 0 yung X1. Okay? And when you were graphing it, alam nyo naman yung X2 intercept. So alam nyo na 0 and 10 yan. Okay? When you're graphing equation 1, you know that equation 1, okay, you know that the intercept here is x2 is 10 if x1 is 0. Okay, so alam natin 0 and 10 yan. So walang problema yung 0 and 10. For corner point B, okay, to solve this point, it is the intersection between constraint number 2 and constraint number 1. So all you have to do is equate 1 and 2, solve for x1 and x2, you will get 4 and 8. Okay, so no problem. So I'm still trying to solve this graphically, ha, yung natutunan natin last meeting. Corner point C, ganun din. It's the intersection between constraint number 3, okay, and constraint number 2. Okay, so corner point C is the intersection between 2 and 3. So equate this together. Okay, equate this, solve for x1 and x2, you will get 8 and 4. And then finally, you know the x1 intercept of corner point D, okay, which is your equation number 3. Okay, so you know that the x1 intercept, this one has to be 10 for this to be 20. Kaya that's 10 and 0 here. Okay, so having solved from the graphical approach, having solved for the x1 and x2 values of the 5 corner points O, A, B, C, D, okay, having solved those 5 values and knowing that the first step of simplex is this standard form here, what we just discussed in the previous slide, okay, knowing that this is the standard form, you can now complete this table. So remember, I'm doing this for you to visualize what simplex is doing step by step. Okay, so since we have 5 variables now in this system of equations, I will now add S1, S2, and S3 into the corner point approach. Okay, into the corner point approach. This is not part of the simplex, ha. Again, ulitin ko, this is not part of the simplex. Sa simplex, ang first step, yung standard form. Ang second step is yung initial solution, which you will see here. Okay, you will see it here. Ayan, identify an initial feasible basic solution, yung tinuro ko kanina. Hindi kasama ito. Okay, hindi kasama ito, itong slide na to. Okay, I'm just showing you this para later, yung simplex method will make sense to you as to what we're doing. Okay, so corner point O. Okay, corner point O. Since alam natin na 0 ito, 0 din ito, I can now solve for corner point O. If these two are 0, x1 and x2, then s1 should be 20, s2 should be 12, and s3 should be 20. Ito yun. Okay, this one, and this one. And then it follows that if x1 and x2 are 0, then your z at corner point O will also be 0. Okay, I hope that's clear. I'll proceed. Corner point A, you have already solved in your graphical approach that x1 and x2 are 0 and 10. So if I look at this one, if x1 and x2 are 0 and 10, if this is 10, 2 times 10 is 20, that makes s1 0. Okay, that's why you have s1 is 0. If x1 and x2 are 0 and 10, 0 plus 10 is 10. This is 12. To make the left side equal to the right side, s2 has to be 2. Okay, 0 plus 10 plus 2 is equal to 12. So s2 is 2. That's why at corner point A, s2 is 2. And then finally here, if x1 is 0, x2 is 10, 10 plus what will be equal to 20. So S3 should be equal to 10. That's why you have 10 here. Okay? And if x1 is 0, x2 is 10 in corner point A, your z will be 4 times 0 plus 5 times 10. So z will be equal to 50. Okay? So meaning, what am I saying? Para mabilis. If I know the value of x1 and x2 in any corner point, okay, I can go back to my standard form and solve for the values of S1, S2, and S3. Kasi alam ko na kung ano yung values ng X1 and X2 at every corner point. Therefore, I can solve the value of the remaining S1, S2, and S3. And that is exactly what we did for every corner point. And once we have the values of X1 and X2, we can already solve for the value of C. So we do that for corner point C, B, C, and D. Can I proceed, class? Can I proceed? Thumbs up lang if I can proceed. If naintindihan how these values from the table were obtained. Okay. So again, ito yung kailangan yung gamitin, yung values ng x1 and x2. Substitute lang dito sa standard form and then solve for s1 and s2, s3, then put it here. Okay. So now, you will see that the next slide is observation on the corner point approach. Okay, but it's good if you can see this and at the same time, you can see this. There. Okay. So observations. We want to make observations because these observations would introduce you to the search process of simplex. Kung paano siya naghahanap. Okay, so first observation. At every corner point, there are always n minus m. Always remember, n minus m, excess variables yan ng system. Yan yung sobra. Okay? There are always n minus m variables which are 0 at every corner point. So tingnan natin. There are 5 corner points here, O, A, B, C, D. At every corner point, nakikita nyo lagi may dalawang 0, di ba? I will encircle them, ha? Okay. Hindi ko na kasi ma-erase yan later. So, may 0. May dalawang 0. At every corner point yan, dalawang variables lagi ang 0. So, what does that tell us? Okay, it tells us that since in this LP model, n minus m is equal to 2. Okay, two excess variables in this LP model. And since at every corner point, there are always two variables that are zero, it means that every corner point is a basic solution. Okay? Ang definition natin ng basic solution is a solution where the excess variables n minus m are all assumed to be zero. Since the excess variable in this system is 2, and all two variables were assumed to be zero, as you can see in every corner point, then all the corner points are basic solutions. Furthermore, if you solve for the rest, look at S1, S2, S3 in corner point O, look at X2, S2, S3 in corner point A, and look at all the other remaining variables. When you solve for them, all of them are non-negative. Wala kayong makikita negative values yan. Non-negative lahat. Okay? Therefore, further conclusion is that corner point O, A, B, C, and D are all feasible basic solutions. That leads us to number 2. Since each corner point has n minus m variables equated to 0 or equal to 0, and then all the remaining variables that had to be solved are non-negative, then we say that every corner point O, A, B, C, D is a feasible basic solution. Okay, that's the second observation. The third observation is coming from the theory that I taught you last meeting, the corner point approach. Alam natin that the optimal solution for this LP problem will only be selected from the 5 corner points. Okay, so therefore it leads to number 3. The optimal solution is therefore a feasible basic solution. Sinasabi ng Simplex, yung search process niya, sa mga feasible basic solutions lang siyang maghahanap. Since alam natin that the optimal solution will be one of these corner points, O, A, B, C, D, and we know that each corner point is a feasible basic solution, then I can now conclude that the optimal solution is also a feasible basic solution. Okay, that's number 3. Okay? Parang ano lang yun, no? Transitivity ba tawag doon? The optimal solution is a corner point. Alam natin yan from last meeting. The optimal solution will be one of these corner points. But each corner point, ngayon, nakikita natin sa observation natin, sa number 2, sabi, each corner point is a feasible basic solution. So if the optimal solution is a corner point, and the corner point is a feasible basic solution, then the optimal solution is a feasible basic solution. It follows. Okay? Then number 4, ito yung importante. Adjacent corner points. Kaya diniscuss natin yung adjacent. So if you look at the graph, okay, you will see that O and A are adjacent, A and B are adjacent, B and C are adjacent, C and D are adjacent, O and D are adjacent. Okay? So let's look at the pattern. O, A, B, magka-adjacent yan, no? O to A to B, B to C, C to D. Okay, balik tayo dito sa observations. Okay? Observation number 4. Adjacent corner points have a common variable at 0 level. Okay? Adjacent corner points have a common variable at 0 level. To move to an adjacent point, what happens is, yung dalawang variable na 0, okay, isa doon mare-retain. Yung isa doon magbabago. Okay? Pero yung isang 0 magiging positive, yung isang positive magiging 0. Parang ganito, if you look at this one, focus tayo sa O and A. Okay? If you look at it separately, corner point O has x1 and x2 na 0. Dalawang variable. Pero corner point A has x1 and s1. Magkaiba. Okay, x1 and s1 na 0. Pero pareho silang dalawang variable na 0. Okay? So if you look further, you will see that to move from corner point O to A, which are adjacent, to move from one point to an adjacent corner point, from this one to this one, okay, you will see that one zero variable, dalawa yung zero variable sa corner point A. Yung isa na retain, x1 na retain siya. Pero yung x2 from 0 naging positive. So ngayon, if 0 naging positive, mangyayari, corner point A, isa na lang yung zero variable. But we know that each corner point has to be a basic solution. So kailangan dalawang zero variable yan. So in order to always maintain two zero variables at every corner point in this example, okay, then I need to convert one positive variable to zero. So in other words, sa corner point A, may tatlong positive variables ako, S1, S2, and S3. Okay, so let me put an X there. Okay, there are three positive variables. For me to maintain at corner point A, for me to maintain two variables at zero level, I need to convert one of these into zero para ma-maintain ko yung dalawa palagi. So again, from corner point O to A, may isang zero variable na naging positive. Ito yon. I will zero variable na naging positive at merong isang positive variable na naging zero. Okay? Ang result, na-maintain natin from corner point O to A, na-maintain natin na dalawa yung variables, yung x's and minus m, na dalawa yung variables at zero. Okay? So, let's see if this observation holds true if I move from corner point A to an adjacent corner point B. Itong dalawa naman. Tingnan natin. Kanina tinignan natin yung O to A. Okay? At yun yung observation natin. So, the observation is there is always one zero variable that is retained. Okay? Retained, zero pa rin siya from one corner point to an adjacent corner point. Then, there is one zero variable na magiging positive and there is one positive variable na magiging zero. Yan yung observation natin sa O to A. Ulitin ko, from O to A, there is one zero variable na na-retain. Ito yon. One zero variable from O na naging positive sa A and one positive variable from O na naging zero sa A. There are three observations. Let's see from corner point A to corner point B. Okay, tingnan natin. What is the zero variable that was retained? Okay, you can just, if you want to answer, you can just type it in the chat box. Okay, so what is the zero variable from A to B naman tayo? From A to an adjacent point B, is there one zero variable that was retained? And what is it? Okay, so makikita natin sa A and B, ito yung zero variable na retain. Zero pa rin siya as you move from A to B. Okay? Sabi natin, there has to be one zero na magiging positive. So ito, zero variable na naging positive. And then there has to be a positive na magiging zero to maintain two variables at zero sa corner point B. So ito yun, positive variable na naging zero. So as you can see, from corner point A to B, yun pa rin yung same three observations natin. Okay? May isang variable na ma-retain at zero, may isang zero na magiging positive, may isang positive na magiging zero. Okay? So let me put it here, 0 to 0. Tatlong observation yan. Zero variable na magiging positive, positive variable na magiging zero. Yun yung tatlong observation natin. Let's see ulit. From corner point B to corner point C. Zero variable na na-retain. Ito. S2. Retained at zero. May isang zero na naging positive. Ito. S1. From 0, naging 4. At may isang positive, itong S3, from 4, naging 0. Okay? So, positive to 0. So, yun pa rin, di ba? And finally, from C to D, ang gulo na ng slide. From C to D, yung na-retain at 0 is S3. From 0 to positive, S2. From positive to 0, ito, X2. So, yun ulit. Okay? So, you will see that in number 4, adjacent corner points have a common variable at 0 level. Yung common variable at 0 level, ito yung observation na yun. Okay? Tapos, to move to an adjacent level, you make one zero variable positive. Okay? Ito yon, zero variable na naging positive. And ang tawag natin dyan sa variable na yan, yung zero na nagiging positive, is what we call our EV, or our entering variable as you move from one corner point to another corner point. Na-mention ko to last meeting. Sa simplex algorithm, it's an iterative process. Iteration yan, parang numerical methods ninyo sa Indumat. Okay, may iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3. So as you move from one corner point O to corner point A, that is one iteration. Iteration 1 yan. Tapos from corner point A to corner point B, that is another iteration. Iteration 2 yan. From B to C, if kailangan, that's iteration 3. The algorithm will tell you when to stop. May optimality criterion yan later on, which we will discuss. So therefore, from iteration 1 to iteration 2 to iteration 3, okay, meron kang ma-observe palagi na zero variable retained at 0, zero variable na magiging positive, positive variable na magiging 0. So, ang tawag sa 0 na naging positive is an entering variable, which we will select later on as we move from one corner point to another. And then, ang positive na naging 0 in every adjacent corner point is what we call the LV, or the leaving variable in every iteration. Okay? So take note, in this corner point approach, makikita natin that the optimal solution happens at 56. Yan yung highest Z value. So the optimal solution is B. Okay? And kung mako-connect niyo yung dinidiscuss ko kanina, it is convenient for us to start at the origin, yung initial solution natin, 0. At x1 equals 0, x2 equals 0. So therefore, ang starting solution natin nasa corner point A tayo. Pag nag-simplex algorithm tayo, simplex method, it will take us from corner point O, yung search process, no, so search for the optimal solution, will take us from corner point O to corner point A. Hindi siya pwedeng tumalon diretso sa corner point B. You cannot jump to a non-adjacent solution. Every iteration moves from one corner point to an adjacent corner point lang. Okay, therefore, ang movement niyan is either from O to A. So if you look at the graph, ang movement niyan is either from, if you started with corner point O here, started with O, pwedeng movement ni simplex is from O, papunta siya sa A. So iteration 1 ito, iteration 2 si A. Okay? Or pwede niyang movement is from O, iteration 1, papunta sa D, iteration 2. Okay? Kasi adjacent, pwede yan. So it can move from O to A or O to D. Pero since we already know that 56 or corner point B is the optimal, you will see that if it moves from O to D, iteration 2, it has to move from D to C, iteration 3, and then C to B, iteration 4, before it gets to the optimal solution. 4 iterations ang gagawin niya. Okay? Pero kapag ito yung pinili niyang path, O to A, iteration 1 ang O, iteration 2 yung A, then iteration 3, nasa optimal point ka na. And the algorithm will already tell you to stop. Tigil ka na dyan kasi optimal na yan. Okay? So, we know, so let me label this. This is the optimal solution from our corner point graphical approach. Okay, yan yung optimal solution. So therefore, alam natin that the simplex search will go from O to A, then A to B until it reaches the optimal solution. Okay? So anong sinasabi natin sa observation? Kapag gumalaw yung simplex search, para for simplex method to move from one corner point to another adjacent corner point, kailangan may entering variable ka at kailangan may leaving variable ka. Yun lang ang sinasabi. Kasi makikita natin dito sa corner point approach table na para maka-move ako from O to A and from A to B, from B to C to D, laging itong tatlong conditions na to are present. For me to be able to move from one corner point to an adjacent corner point, kailangan meron itong tatlong to. Isang zero na nare-retain, isang zero na naging positive, at isang positive na naging zero. So therefore, later, makikita ninyo sa simplex algorithm, makikita ninyo na may step doon na kailangan hanapin ninyo yung entering variable at hanapin ninyo yung leaving variable. Kasi necessary siya for you to be able to move from one point, from one corner point to another corner point. It's a necessary condition. Okay? As seen from this table. Okay? So that explains later, no? Pagka nandun na tayo sa algorithm, that explains why you need to find the entering variable and the leaving variable to move to the next iteration. Okay? And that's why we're discussing graphical first. Kasi sa graphical and sa corner point approach, makikita ninyo yung logic ng movement ng simplex method. Yung movement niya to search for the optimal solution, no? Makikita ninyo through the graphical approach. Okay? And then, the last observation is, to obtain optimum dito sa approach na to, what we do is just equate n minus m variables to 0 and then solve for the rest of the variables and choose the best solution, which is exactly what we do sa corner point approach. Okay? So, yan yung ginagawa ng simplex.